report shows Miami ranks number 5 in the country when it comes to bad traffic in 2022.
Traffic congestion. It gets worse every year within the United States. Travel time increases, roads become busier, and urban populations swell. Within the US, it's almost essential to own a vehicle. Our cities are built around cars. In a 2023 study, over 90% of Americans owned a vehicle. Only 8.5% did not. If you ask yourself right now, how do I get to work or school? The answer for almost everyone in the US would be, I get in my car and I drive. This complete dependency on car transportation has resulted in growing traffic congestion throughout every major city in the United States. The U.S. Department of Transportation created the Roadway Congestion Index, or RCI. It measures vehicle travel density on significant roadways in urban areas. If we look at the RCI in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1982, the roadway travel density was 0.83. In 2011, that number rose to 1.18. Just for reference, any RCI number exceeding 1 indicates an undesirable level of traffic congestion. This undesirable level of congestion is not just present within Atlanta, it's present throughout almost every major city within the United States. In a 2017 study conducted by INRIX across 38 countries in over 200 cities, they found that the average American loses an average of 97 hours a year due to sitting in traffic congestion. Within economics, we have this term called opportunity cost. If you took that time and you put it into working your average job, that's a loss of $1,348 annually. New York City alone contains a loss of $9.5 billion every year due to traffic congestion. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, there's two kinds of traffic congestion. The first, which we're all familiar with, is car accidents. If there's a block in the road, it's going to result in bottlenecks and traffic congestion. The second kind is from roadways reaching capacity. That means there's far too much demand for the roads, and there's not enough road to go around for the level of people trying to use it. According to the Department of Transportation, roughly 40% of all traffic congestion resulted from roadways reaching capacity. So traffic is getting worse. It's affecting the average American significantly. How do we solve it? One answer might be trains. But before we take a look at railway transportation and how it affects traffic congestion, it's important to take a look at the history of trains that we've had in this country. The United States actually has a long and rich history of rail infrastructure. Trains made it possible to develop the entirety of the United States before the invention of cars. Steam engine trains were the fastest method of traveling long distances. During the Industrial Revolution, trains were a means of transporting goods and supplies throughout the country. Trains also played an integral part of the Civil War. The North would specifically target Southern railway systems to interfere with supply chains. Today, trains are used throughout the U.S. to transport a vast amount of goods. According to a 2017 study, the U.S. ranks third in the world when it comes to goods transported via train. Despite this vast amount of railway system to transport goods via train, there's a severe lack of passenger railway systems within the country. The U.S. ranks far behind countries like China, Japan, South Korea, and many European countries when it comes to passenger rail. The most notable system of passenger railway in the United States is Amtrak. It's at a repair backlog of $45.2 billion and at a $1 billion deficit. That loss is due to poor policymaking, it's due to inefficient systems, and it's due to a lack of funding. The simple answer as to why we don't have efficient railway system in this country is because policymakers simply don't care enough to invest in it. In essence, the US is a culture of commuting by car. However, with the growing rates of traffic congestion, could an investment in passenger rail infrastructure reduce traffic in major cities? To determine that, it's important to look at the impact that railway has had in other countries. Traffic congestion has affected cities worldwide, and Singapore is no exception. After gaining independence, during the mid to late 1900s, Singapore faced a rapidly growing population and a massive influx of cars, which caused detrimental traffic congestion within the country. Just for reference, Singapore is a very densely populated area, there's limited space, and the ratio of cars to households rose from 26 per 100 households in 1980 to 31 per 100 households in 1990. Despite being constrained by limited space, a rapidly growing population and economy, Singapore is a strong example of how railway systems and strong government policies can alleviate traffic congestion. Singapore's success story is involved with analyzing the main source of traffic congestion, recurring congestion. Recurring congestion results in an imbalance between supply and demand. The limited physical space does not meet the travel demand within the country. As a result, recurring congestion occurs in specific locations at specific times. Singapore found that it's essential to deal with both the supply and demand sides of traffic congestion when trying to alleviate the issue. Singapore found that the most successful method in easing traffic congestion was implementing a supply of transportation in the form of public transport systems. As a result of building effective and efficient transport systems, over 60% of Singapore's total commuting trips daily were through public transport systems. Singapore found that efficient systems and good service incentivizes people to take the train as opposed to driving their own car. Singapore targeted the supply side of traffic congestion by increasing the supply of ways people can commute by building a massive web of public transport. But Singapore also targeted the demand side of traffic. Singapore implemented policies targeting demand, and these policies included car ownership control and car usage control. Because Singapore is extremely limited in space and has a dense population, the number of people who can obtain a new car license annually is limited. Along with this policy, Singapore has implemented road tolls, fuel tax, and license fees to regulate travel demand within the country. Essentially, within Singapore, traveling by car is discouraged through policymaking, and therefore public transportation, particularly railway systems, are a more cost-effective, efficient, and accessible option. Singapore's strategy for lowering traffic congestion involves making public transport a far more competitive option. Tokyo, Japan is a prime example of how rail infrastructure can improve traffic, increase livability, and make travel more accessible and efficient to everyone. Japan is a large country home to over 125 million people. The Greater Tokyo region houses over 37 million people. As a result, Tokyo is the most populated city in the entire world. Despite its massive population, Tokyo is known for its accessible rail transportation and streets filled with people, not cars. Additionally, Tokyo and Japan as a whole is known for having rail transportation that is extremely efficient and is always on time. Tokyo has the most used public transportation system in the world. Roughly 30 million people of its total population, 80%, use it daily. In essence, Tokyo is a human-centric city, but Tokyo wasn't always a world leader in public transportation. After World War II, Tokyo had to rebuild from scratch. After the war, rapid economic growth at a rate faster than any other country in the world at the time, and a massively growing population resulted in excessive congestion in existing travel systems. As a result, Tokyo looked for public transportation systems as a way to alleviate congestion, connect the city to growing suburban areas, and allow people to move throughout the city regardless of income or social status. After decades of building a massive web of railway infrastructure, over 80% of Tokyo's population commute by trains or buses every single day. Many others use bicycles or walk. The rest use compact cars much smaller than those that you see within the United States. Tokyo, Japan managed to bring its traffic congestion down from 221% in 1975 to 164% in 2015. Tokyo is a prime example of how careful planning and development of efficient public rail system can ease congestion within a massively populated city. However, while rail transportation within Tokyo is crucial in limiting traffic congestion, there are several other factors that play a vital role as well. For example, building efficient road systems within the city, such as the Tokyo Metropolitan Expressway, carries much of the heavy traffic away from residential areas. Many of the roads within the city at the residential level are too small to even hold cars. They hold people. While rail transportation is the most prominent method that Tokyo uses for alleviating traffic congestion, Tokyo's traffic success story stems from being an all-around human-centric city. Within Central Europe, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland have all reduced road congestion in their largest cities over the past 25 years. Their strategy in reducing traffic lies in increasing the safety and accessibility of walking, cycling, and using public transportation. According to the Eurostat and OECD, car ownership within Western and Central Europe has increased significantly since the late 1900s. While public transportation is a fundamental method of reducing traffic within Central Europe, it's not at the heart of their strategy. The heart of Central Europe's strategy for reducing traffic lies in taxation, fees, and car restrictive policies. Federal taxes and fees on car ownership discourage the use of cars. Additionally, parking fees, fuel tax, and motorway tolls also discourage car use within parts of Central Europe. Central European countries carefully develop road systems that divert traffic from city centers and dense areas. These policies discourage car use and ownership and incentivize other options such as walking and cycling. Central European populations walk far more to commute than populations within the United States and Canada. Individuals walking or cycling can easily access bus stops, trams, subways, and trains. Many people in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland never even learn to drive. They commute by public transportation, walking, or even cycling to where they need to go. While trains and railway systems are used within Central Europe, fundamentally, they're used to connect cities and countries together rather than a key strategy to lower traffic congestion. Within Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, data shows that more significant percentage of daily trips were made on foot than by public transportation. Additionally, 13% of daily trips in Germany were made by cycling, compared to 11% by public transportation. The combination of walking, cycling, and public transportation in all three countries equates to nearly 50% of all daily commuting. Overall, Central Europe's method for lowering traffic is by discouraging car use and promoting the safety and accessibility of walking and cycling. So, is railway transportation a viable solution to traffic congestion? The answer, sometimes. This goes back to Singapore's method of supply and demand. Rail systems offer significant benefits in supply by increasing commuter capacity, efficiency, and sustainability. However, as seen in the case of Singapore and Central Europe, these systems work best when complemented with the demand side of the strategy, with policies that discourage car use and make rail transportation a far more competitive option. Additionally, while railway systems within Tokyo and Singapore are some of the best in the world, they work best because of the city's dense population, limited space, and high demand for an alternative system of commuting. Along with building efficient railway transportation comes with the responsibility to create better urban planning for more human-centric cities that make them more livable and accessible. Railway transportation holds promise in the broader solution of traffic congestion within the United States. Along with effective rail transportation systems, the US can use international examples in government policies and urban planning to lower traffic congestion and create more sustainable and livable cities. In essence, while rail transportation can play a vital role in lowering traffic, a holistic approach that considers diverse transportation options such as bus systems, walking, and cycling, as well as policies and urban planning, are required to tackle traffic congestion within the United States.